The transfer portal has brought along some of the most notable players in the SEC, with guys like Stetson Bennett, Joe Burrow, and Jaden Daniels coming along in the last couple of years. We've also experienced some of the biggest busts coming in from the transfer portal, like Kelly Bryant, Elias Ricks, and Eric Gilbert. This year, I'm going to give you my picks on who's going to boom and who's going to bust going into the 2024 season coming in from the transfer portal. Now, these are my own opinions, as I've already stated, so if you have any problem, that's all right with me. So for my picks on who's going to boom, I have Bauer Sharp first. He's the transfer from Southeastern Louisiana, and he's a big-time tight end that could be Oklahoma's next Mark Andrews. He is an explosive tight end. He's a guy that started off his career at quarterback coming into Hammond, eventually made the transition, put on weight, got to switch over to that tight end position, and he was an electric fit for the Lions in 2023. He's an excellent pass catcher who can make magic work with the football, extremely athletic. He can hurdle over defenders. He is very athletic. He doesn't play like a typical tight end. He is so dynamic with the football. He can pretty much play kind of like a slot receiver as well. He's a bigger version of a kind of what that slot receiver is looking for. But at the same time, he's an excellent blocker as well. Maintains his block, can get up to the next level, and make defenders pay. Number 2, I have C.J. Daniels. Now, Blaine Gilmer briefly mentioned about C.J. Daniels in a video on our channel. You can check that out. He's an explosive receiver. He's quick off the football, and he is a guy that LSU needed to get going into this season. He's going to be an effective number 2 receiver that could contend for a number 1 slot as the season progresses, because you needed another guy to fill in from what Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors leaves behind. You're going to pair with him alongside Kyron Lacey, and you're asking for a great 1-2 punch, one that could be very underrated in the SEC. Gives Garrett Nussmeier some confidence and some more weapons going into next year, and have an opportunity to really elevate his game for this upcoming season. And then Walter Nolan. That's another guy I think that's going to boom in this season. When you go into a 3-4 defense, it's perfect for him. He's coming from a 3-4 defense with DJ Durkin as your defensive coordinator. He's an explosive interior defensive lineman that can explode off the football, shoot his hands, get a quick swipe, a quick swim, whatever he can perform as pass rush wise. And in the run game, explosive, is excellent technique, is able to bust off defenders whenever they reach with the push-pull technique, swipe up afterwards, contain, and easily get in the backfield at any given time. He's a guy that's going to fit well into Pete Golden's defense. He can play any position. I think he can play a 1 or 2 shade defensive tackle, or he can play nose, and he also can play a stand-up 4-tech defensive end and line up, head up on an offensive lineman and really dominate him during the game. So I think that Walter Nolan's going to take the next step forward and become what Ole Miss has been looking for in a dominant defensive lineman since Robert Kendipchi came here in 2015. So we talked about the guys that have boomed, but let me tell you about something else that also booms. It's RHOBACK Activewear. So if you guys haven't heard of RHOBACK before, you got to check them out. It's safe to say that we would bet on those guys any day of the week because we absolutely love their gear. We couldn't be more pumped to work with RHOBACK. It is simply the most comfortable gear that we own, from the performance polos to the hoodies and the joggers. It's for the best fit and the best feel. RHOBACK's performance hoodies are the best piece of clothing that we own. We can't emphasize how soft these are. With great stretch and breathability, they're simply the best hoodies out there. Odds are, if you see us during football season, you're going to see us in a RHOBACK hoodie. Second, RHOBACK's performance polos are the most comfortable polos out there. They are moisture wicking with four-way stretch, making them perfect for a game day and have the perfect fit. With crisp collars that don't lose their shape, we couldn't recommend those polos more. In all honesty, RHOBACK has been gaining traction big time. RHOBACK's been working with some of the college football's biggest stars, such as Alabama's Jalen Milroe. So go check them out now and use our code SECU on RHOBACK.com. Give you 20% off your first order through the end of this week. That's tomorrow. That's today and tomorrow. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. 20% off all bottoms, Q-zips, hoodies, and more with code SECU. Thank you to our friends over at RHOBACK for being a proud partner with SEC Unfiltered. So now it's time to go to our bus, which will be kind of even keel when it comes to me being fair when it comes to being these. Again, these are my opinions. I think Blake Shapen's going to be a bust. That's number one. Here's a guy that's not the most accurate quarterback. He's been injured. There's a lot of receiving. There's a lot of questions surrounding his game. He doesn't have the best offensive line. Receiving-wise, he doesn't have a deep receiving core. He's going to struggle with staying in the pocket, especially when you move up from the Big 12 to the SEC, where defense is much more dominant. You're going to see a lot more intensity from your defense, and you're going to see a lot of different formations they're going to throw at you in blitz packages that he's not really used to seeing in the Big 12. So it's going to be a new transition for Blake Shapen. But this is a season that can either make or break him. If he does struggle this year, you're going to see Jeff Levy go ahead and take another shot on a quarterback that he has more trust in, one that is young, one that has come out of college, and one that he believes can succeed in his offense. Number two, I have Taylen Green. Taylen Green is a guy that does not fit Bobby Petrino's offense. What Bobby Petrino looks for is a pocket quarterback like Ryan Mallett was, the late Ryan Mallett, may he rest in peace. And obviously guys like Matt Schaub whenever he was at Arkansas. He worked with Jason Campbell when he was at Auburn. And guys like that. So you're not going to see him take Taylen Green and have him be the same guy like he was at Boise State. I think he's going to try and make him into a more polished pocket passer, which is not really what you need to do with a guy like that. I know it's a little bit different with Connor Weigman because Weigman's a guy that is going to throw the football a lot more. Green's a guy that can get on his feet, scramble outside the pocket, and really make magic work with his feet. And Bobby Petrino's not going to let him do that. He wants him to stay in the pocket and make decisions whenever it comes to throwing the football. And that's not Taylen Green's style. That's why I don't think he's going to have a lot of success. And then finally, I have Robbie Ashford. I'm sure this is going to be an obvious one for many fans, especially those in South Carolina territory. Lenora Sellers is the guy. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Because he's a fantastic quarterback. He's a guy that Shane Beamer trusts in his offense. He's fresh. He's brand new. You saw Robbie Ashford really struggle in Auburn's offense. So he's basically just going to become what A.J. Swan is for LSU. He's going to be a backup. He's going to be a guy that's not really going to see the field except for garbage time or whenever it's Wildcat, because Ashford is more of that dual threat quarterback that loves to run the football. So as much as I like Robbie Ashford, especially with the skill set that he brings, he's not going to be the same guy that he was at Auburn, and he will not even touch the field with Shane Beamer in South Carolina.